In this video, I'm going to give you some LinkedIn profile tips for entrepreneurs. So if you're an entrepreneur, listen up. On this channel, I talk a lot about LinkedIn, Instagram, personal branding, and other social media platforms, practical advice to looking good online. If those topics interest you, stick around. Consider subscribing or hitting that bell to be notified when I post next. Now, it's time to talk about LinkedIn profile tips for entrepreneurs. I'm in Cabo, and the question comes from Ola, who asks, Phil, any tips for entrepreneurs on LinkedIn? Yes, Ola, great question. I've got lots of tips for entrepreneurs here on LinkedIn. Not here on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, but we're talking about LinkedIn, and I'm covering those tips in this video. 6 tips, in fact. Now, before we dive right into that, I should also recommend that you check out my freebie, LinkedIn Tips for Beginners. This PDF is really helpful when it comes to updating your profile and if you're looking to develop a strategy to improve your efforts on LinkedIn. This is going to be great for you, and I'm going to link to that below. Now, if you want my tips, here are my tips. Finally, starting with the first one. Tip number 1, build trust by adding a great photo. As it goes for any social media platform, it's really important that the profile photo you use is strong because this is what people are interacting with in place of being able to see you face to face in real life. It matters less how beautiful you look and more that the photo accurately reflects who you are and how you look today. I liken your profile photo on social media platforms to online dating. Let's say, for example, you consume someone's profile online. You see their picture, you resonate also with the way that they describe themselves, and it's time to meet up with them in real life. And then you meet them in real life, and they're nothing like how they portrayed themselves online. This is never a positive experience. So don't use an outdated photo, or worse, don't have a photo at all, right? As an entrepreneur, it's important that your online presence instills trust in that person who's looking you up or interacting with you. So make sure that photo is updated. Recently, I did an experiment on my Instagram. I posted a few profile photo options and asked my audience which one they liked. And the picture that everyone liked is the one that had the least number of distractions, right? A focus on my face. You can see my face nice and clearly. It's a simple, updated photo. And so that's what I'm using. Something like this is perfect for LinkedIn. Tip number 2, include keywords on your profile. Your profile tells a user who you are and what capabilities and experiences you have. But also remember that every word that you type is searchable. So you want to make sure that you're also thinking about the words that people are typing into LinkedIn to find someone like you. Actually think about those phrases and make sure you sprinkle those phrases throughout your profile. This is going to make your profile more SEO friendly. SEO means search engine optimization, increases the chances that someone important or relevant in your industry is going to find you. Now, I'm a brand strategist, have been for years, and for a long time, my headline on LinkedIn was just that, brand strategist. But over the last few years, I've become a keynote speaker as well at conferences all over the world. For a long time, I didn't list the phrase keynote speaker anywhere on my profile, which in retrospect is a big mistake. Now, this is a true story. Within a few months of me adding the phrase keynote speaker to my LinkedIn headline, a conference organizer reached out to me from Europe, hired me for a speaking engagement after a few conversations, all based on the fact that I had this on my LinkedIn profile. That's how she found me. So this stuff works. I can attest to that. Tip number 3, customize your connection request message. Beyond just clicking that connect button with someone that you want to connect with on LinkedIn, also consider adding a note that you customize for that particular person. Now, here's an example of what that screen looks like. All you have to do is click add a note, and that's going to bring you basically to the inbox to include some details about why you want to connect with that person. And I know from experience that people really appreciate when you take a few extra seconds and leave a thoughtful note with that request. Keep in mind that could be a future friend, business contact, client, employer, right? So take a few extra seconds and put some thought into that. The recipient, I know, will definitely appreciate it. If you don't customize your connection request message, it comes across as lazy even if it's not something that you intend. So I can think of, for example, one instance where a connection request message ended up in me hiring a business coach. He was a stranger at first, but I responded well to the message that he included as a note. And here's how that looked. It said, "Hi, Phil. I took a look at your company and I'm very interested in learning more. You help people with their brand strategy and we help people with their businesses. Would you be open to connecting?" It was short, it was sweet, it was thoughtful. It tells me very quickly that he's done a little bit of research into who I am, right? I actually worked with Brad for about 6 months. So this message was definitely worth him sending, taking those few extra seconds to customize it. Tip number 4, don't forget the details. We tend to focus on the obvious changes, like updating your profile photo, rewriting or shortening your about section or your LinkedIn profile summary, right? All the things towards the bottom of your profile are equally important, and don't let those be an afterthought. Things like achievements, relevant certificates, awards, publications, even licenses or volunteer experience. Maybe you've launched courses, or maybe you've got patents. LinkedIn has a spot on your profile that accommodates all of these things that I've mentioned right now. So go take a look and make sure you're not skipping over any of the important details that really illustrate who you are and why someone should care. Another detail that you don't want to miss, the opportunity to break out one particular job title by responsibility. Here's what I mean. I mentioned earlier that I myself listed myself as a brand strategist for years on my profile, but it wasn't until recently that I actually created a second responsibility under that title called keynote speaker. And in that section, I was actually able to link to my branding work as well as embed links to recent talks that I've delivered, making it easy for someone to see exactly what I do. Another thing I mention often when I talk about LinkedIn is to ask others for recommendations. I do this often, and I think you should as well. It's the best place to have testimonials organized in one place for others to see quickly. Tip number 5, post consistently. Now, I know the thought of posting on LinkedIn can be tricky because it's a more professional platform versus other social media like Facebook or Instagram, but I would argue that it's actually more important for you to post and stay on the radar of people, right? If you've made the effort to connect with them, as well as actively engage in conversations on this platform. I recommend updating your status and your profile consistently. Actually take the time to write content about what you're up to, or posts that give us insight into your perspective on what you do or how you think as an entrepreneur. Not just sharing articles that have been written by other people, but also sharing your own thoughts and perspectives on what's happening in your relevant industry. Posts don't have to be long. In fact, try different things. Long, short, funny, serious, photos, stories, videos, right? You're not really going to know until you try some of these. So ideally, you're trying these and you're posting consistently. Tip number 6, my final tip, visuals and accessibility. LinkedIn is not the most visual social media platform out there, but there are opportunities for visuals on your profile. I mentioned a second ago the possibility of including links under your experiences. There's also a great opportunity at the top of your profile, below your About section, to include a featured link or a series of featured links. This could be images, media, hyperlinks to videos, for example. You want to include visual proof that you do what you say you do. So attach your portfolio, videos, slides, or images. I, for example, have my speaking reel up top, so that tells people quickly that I am who I say I am, and I am, in fact, a keynote speaker. On the point of accessibility, think about languages. Did you know that you can actually include multiple languages on your LinkedIn profile? Entrepreneurs that work in more than one language, this is a great opportunity for you. It's important to specify what languages you speak, what you're proficient in, and even that profile could be in that language. LinkedIn doesn't support every single language, but it supports most languages. So that's what I have to say on visuals and accessibility. A lot to digest for entrepreneurs looking to make an impact on LinkedIn. Let me know how you're feeling in the comments below. I keep an eye on those personally. And if you're interested in connecting with me, I've pasted that link in the description below. I'd love to keep in touch. We've talked about tips for entrepreneurs. Next, I'm going to link through to some videos that I think will help you on LinkedIn even further. I'm Pallen. Thanks for watching, and those videos are coming up next.